Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Clarity Code episode 4. Today, we're going to be exploring something very fundamental, okay? Something that actually sits beneath all the emotional patterns, and that is emotional conditioning. We are going to be talking about the early emotional codes all of us observed without realizing it, and how those codes still shape our reactions as an adult.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today we are going to link this to something everyone struggles with, and that is resistance. Resistance is not at all laziness. Okay. It's not, I don't want to change. It's the mind protecting a familiar emotional code. So, today we will decode how and why that happens.
Absolutely. And let me just list out a bunch of things which is directly linked to for who is this video specifically for. Okay, so when you're listening to that, have like an internal check mark which says, yeah, I feel that, so check. So the more number of checks you are, um the more meaning this particular episode is going to be for you. Okay, so let's say you're a person who keeps repeating the same emotional patterns even though you are aware of them. All right, now emotional patterns can be having similar experiences irrespective of which field you are in. It can be from a relationship aspect, it can be from a work aspect, it can be from a colleague aspect. Okay, second is, if you understand yourself logically, okay, uh but then emotionally you still feel stuck or blocked or confused, so you know that what is happening to you is not so great. You understand the nuances of it, but you still have that, stuck feeling. You can feel the big shift coming, but every time you want to take the next step, something inside you just pulls you back, stops you from going ahead. You know what you want, but you still end up choosing whatever is familiar to you. And once you have chosen what's familiar to you, it hits you saying that why did I do that? Okay. If you're also somebody who gets into this mode of freeze or withdrawal, or if you end up overthinking, or if you're also somebody who delays making decision, okay, even when the path is really clear, then this video is for you. Another checkpoint would be that you feel guilty for not changing faster. And it's not that you're not trying, okay, you're like literally trying, but you're unable to change. You experience inner resistance as tiredness, irritation, overwhelm, or I don't know moments. So these are resistance, okay? So even though you feel that, oh, I'm tired, I'm irritated, I can't make a decision right now, it's resistance. You are a highly aware person, but your body doesn't seem to catch up with your awareness. We're going to explain all these things, okay? We're going to take a lot of examples and stuff like that, but these are like checkpointers. This video is also applicable for you if you have outgrown old patterns, but there are parts of you which still cling to them for some kind of safety. Um also you would have heard yourself say, why do I do this? I understand everything, but I still can't move from it or move through it. Something inside me slows me down. Or if you are asking yourself, why am I scared of what I want? So these are your checkpoints.
Such a meaningful list, and some of the points I've also checked one itself. Okay. The emotional codes are basically the codes that are embedded into with your early experiences. Okay. So you don't start your life with emotional clarity. So clarity is a later part. It is a later embodiment. You start with emotional absorption. You absorb everything what is happening in your outer environment. You learn behaviors, you learn the conditioning that is happening. So that's when your nervous system is learning through imitation. I think imitation is the first thing. Like
Mm.
kids, toddlers
Yeah,
start imitating the moment they are born. Then tone, body language, and emotional climate of your surrounding, everything affects your internal environment, your internal grid. So now the question is, what emotional climate were you raised in? That's very important to understand or build an understanding around it.
exactly. Because when we think about ourselves, or when we think of our personality, we say that this is just who I am, or this is just how I am. But for most people, it is actually, this is how my environment conditioned me to feel safe. Okay. And before I go any further, I want to bring this to everybody's attention. Okay. I know that there is a lot of conversations going around how your parents uh, made your life traumatic, or how because of them you ended up being a certain way. Please know that this is not happening from your parents' end. This has been happening for at least 15, 20 generations before them. They have done the best of what they can do for you. So this episode is not to blame your parents for what they did or what they did not do. Okay, so be very, very, very clear of that. We are not blaming anybody here. We're just trying to help you understand what is the kind of safety net that you have created for yourself in the environment that you were born. For example, some kids early on learn uh, to not cry, to not express, to not ask questions, to not take up space. Whereas there are other kids who learn to become strong, to become cheerful, to be perfect, to be useful. You getting what I'm saying? So, different climate, but the results are the same. You shape yourself to maintain emotional safety.
Right. So that's because your emotional conditioning creates your innate settings.
Yeah.
Like, let's take an example of a laptop or a mobile phone. Okay, so there is a particular setup of settings. Okay, this brand is going to work this way, this brand is going to work a certain way. Similarly, think of your emotional codes as a baseline script. Okay, your childhood, specifically your childhood emotional codes. That way your nervous system writes for you, because these are the early learnings of yourself. So let me point out few scripts that you might have learned through your early conditioning.
Mm,
So it can be, if I stay quiet, I stay safe. Okay, if I solve the problem, I get love.
mm,
If I don't disagree, I avoid conflict. Okay, so this is also because the point is to keep yourself safe. Okay, so we do everything possible to make it work. If I achieve, I am worthy. Okay, so all these pointers are directly linked to the emotions that are embedded with your early learnings. And it is very important to build an understanding around our innate learnings and settings, and it varies from person to person. It is not same for all. But with understanding of the framework that we are sharing today, I believe that it will help you to decipher and dissect how your behavior shaped from your early years to teenage experiences to the adulthood.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And when we say scripts, what we mean by that is the internal dialogue that you have with yourself. And these are not just dialogues, these are almost like affirmations. For example, when I say, when you keep saying something over and over again, your body starts to believe it, your mind starts to believe it. That is what affirmation is. Okay, I know there is a lot of affirmations in the spiritual world wherein they say, okay, I am this and I'm that, and then you become that. It's true. But then the sad part is you affirm more negative things than positive things. You have more conviction in your shortcoming affirmations than your evolutionary desire affirmations. Okay. Now these scripts that Alicia mentioned, that if I stay quiet I'll be safe, if I solve a problem then I will get love, these are your default settings. They don't feel like conditioning, but they are more like your identity, because that is what you have practiced over and over again. So if, as you have practiced that in your adulthood, you are not reacting to the present moment. You are not reacting to a problem that is there at the moment. You are reacting to an old emotional code which keeps repeating itself. And that is the beginning of resistance. Now, I want to move or show you the relationship between how your mind perceives, or how your mind perceives resistance. Okay, so your mind says, if I change the way I believe in, it can be anything. Okay, if I change my way of belief, then I would not know who I am.
So, which means resistance always protect your old emotional identity,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, this is important to understand that resistance is always logical to the nervous system. For example, if childhood taught you uncertainty is danger,
Mm,
okay, it can be like, I'm sure it is there inside most of the people. Just pick it out and try to relate what I'm saying. If your childhood taught you that uncertainty is equal to danger, then any new direction, any new decision, any kind of emotional honesty will trigger resistance in you, right? So, not because it is wrong, because it is very much unfamiliar to the system, to
mm,
your nerve, to your emotional body, to your energy body, to your whole being. So, that is where that's why we are pinpointing the resistance over here. I think
mm.
this is the underdog of every emotional clarity here, because uh, we talk
Yeah.
about triggers, we talk about other things, okay, we talk about senses, we talk about transitioning reactions to responses,
Mm.
but the major threshold in between the transition is the resistance.
Yeah, and the resistance is coming from the mind. So
Yeah.
when, if I have to say I want clarity but I still feel blocked, what you're trying to say is, I'm trying to shift from a particular code that I have known for, which I have lived for, which has kept me safe, to a new code, but something is not working, and that something is resistance.
Okay. That's why we can say that confusion,
Mm.
confusion in this phase, confusion arises, and it is also a shield for many people, because
Yeah.
a prolonged resistance will give birth to confusion. Okay, because
Mm.
mind protects that way.
Not even a prolonged resistance. Okay, it is like you feel this tug of war between, I have done this but I
Yeah,
want to do this, so there is resistance because of which you're not doing what you're supposed to do,
yeah.
and that whole situation where you're stuck in between two things is what creates confusion.
Right. So it can be like, try to correlate. If I don't know what I feel,
Mm,
I don't have to act on it. So, staying away from all this. If I don't understand the pattern, I don't have to confront it. Okay, so these are the all the underneath architecture of our emotional structure. Okay, so confusion becomes an emotional delay mechanism and becomes a very huge part of the personality.
Yeah.
I would like to mention I have experienced this myself for many years in my teenage. Even
Mm,
now as well, some of my decisions I feel like okay, some of the decisions are delayed. Then with with my conscious understanding and awareness, I try to dissect this,
mm,
and then I my decision making has become better
mm.
than before, and
Yeah.
my emotional stature has become more clearer.
You know why that happens, Alicia? Because in order for you to take an action, okay, your action demands clarity.
Yeah,
So if you are clear about something, it's easier for you to take action. Okay. If you're confused about something, that means
yeah,
there is lack of clarity. So
exactly.
when you're confused and when you don't have clarity, what do you organically go towards? Postponing things. Because you don't want to get into a state of discomfort,
It's yeah,
and hence you postpone things. And if discomfort was unsafe in childhood, then
yeah,
your mind will choose confusion because it feels safe,
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
right? For example, if I have to share an example for this, um, let's take an example. Let's take Veluswamy. Okay, a little background for everybody here. We use this example very in a very funny way, but then I'll give you a little short story of Veluswamy. Okay, he's like 37 years old. He is born in Coimbatore, but then he works in Bangalore, and he's this operation manager in a packaging company. Okay, he is not seeking transformation. It's the other way around. Transformation is seeking him. So I'm going to take his example because I love this character that I created in my head. Okay. So let's say Veluswamy in his childhood, um, so we're talking about discomfort, being unsafe, right? So Veluswamy in his childhood uh, was sleeping in the afternoon when his friends came and were doing funny things. They were pulling his shirt and all those things. So that made him feel very uncomfortable. And it also made him feel very unsafe because there were people, even though his age, who were trying to fidget with his clothes and stuff like that when he was sleeping. So that created a sense of unsafety. Now, when your mind, let's say when you go now he's an adult, like I said, he's 36 years old. Now he is on an office trip. He's very scared of sleeping by himself or sleeping in the crowd, because his mind has that entire episode stored. And because that entire episode is stored, he's a loner. He likes to sleep alone. He doesn't like to share rooms. Are you able to see the connection between how it started and how it is going? Now the reason why I bring this in is when your mind is okay with choosing confusion because it likes safety.
Right. So we can say that mind protects the emotional core through
Mm.
confusion. Simple.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
keeps things blurry so you don't destabilize the system.
yeah,
Okay.
true.
And it is the only operating system on which many of your emotional things, only operating system, many of the emotional things are dependent upon. Okay. And it is not, mind is not designed to evolve or ascend, right? Mind is designed to keep you in a state of familiarity. And my mind says, I know this, I've done this before, and I will do this again unconsciously.
Yeah,
Mind is meant to keep you safe, even though in a loop.
yeah.
Doesn't matter. Okay. So mind makes you believe who you are based on your experiences, right? So just that who you are in a mind is not actually who you are. Who you are is what you believe. Your mind believe is that little you who lives in fear, anxiety, or maybe remorse, melancholy, right? So that's not the real you. In order for you to know the real you need to master your mind. And that is what is known as mind master.
You know what, Alicia? I've actually created a very short content, probably like probably like 10 9 10 minutes
Mhm.
about how to work with your mind, how to make how to make your mind work for you rather than being in control of the mind. And I think that is going to be out somewhere in the first week of Jan. You have to watch it because I think I had so much fun creating that. It was and also know that I created that based on my own learning of the heart, the mind, the brain. Okay, because these are all very confusing topics when we are looking at it from a psychological or from a spiritual point of view. So you have to watch that. It's gonna be airing on the 1st of Jan. So now, I'm going to link this also to fear, okay? Because understand that when there is confusion, when there is resistance, when there is delay, fear does exist in this dynamics, okay? But rather than telling you what a fear is or how to identify a fear, I don't have to tell you that. We all know what a fear is. Rather, I'm gonna flip this into fear being feedback. How can you use fear as a feedback mechanism for yourself? Okay, because fear as it is has a very bad reputation. But if you think about it, fear is information. Fear is an emotional code reacting to a possible change.
Exactly. Fear is not saying don't do it.
Yeah,
It is saying this is unfamiliar, as I've said earlier as well. And that's the feedback, not a stop sign. This is a very, like you said, default conditioning
yeah,
many of us had
yeah,
that, okay, that whenever there is fear, people immediately erupt that or stop there. But
yeah.
it is all about unfamiliar, the
And
unfamiliar.
yeah, and when you say or okay, when you're afraid of something, your default setting is I don't want to do it. Okay,
Hmm.
but if you use it as an information, like I said earlier, like Alicia said earlier, it is a feedback mechanism, meaning this is unfamiliar. Now if you are not looking at it at that angle, okay, if you still feel that fear meaning I don't want to do it, what you are also bringing up is resistance, which is I don't want to do it, and there's a resistance to do something, but the baseline is fear there. Okay. So when you feel this, if you can simply ask yourself, what identity is this protecting? That will shift you from being attacked by your mind to understanding your mind.
Okay. Okay. Okay, let's move on to some real life
Yeah.
examples. Okay. Like someone avoids tough conversations,
Mm.
hmm? Not because they are weak, but because their childhood emotional code is conflict is unsafe. So this is their innate understanding.
Yeah.
And there is a possibility that later on in their life they might be operating on the same
Yeah,
systems.
yeah, because as a child, they might have seen people having difficult conversation, which is ending up in conflict, right? So the belief system that forms over there is I have to have this difficult conversation, but I know that this is going to end up in a fight. This might probably break the relationship. Okay, so they avoid it. Um, I want to pick another one, which is people are very afraid to walk towards their dreams. Like
Yeah.
if you have seen Alchemist, okay, this guy is supposed to be going somewhere to get a treasure. But then he meets so many people on the way who have had multiple dreams and who have not fulfilled those dreams, right? Why? Because it is a fear, right? It's a fear of it's some people might say, okay, you are not going behind your dream because you don't have discipline. It's very easy to say. Trust me, there are many people are very highly disciplined because that is something that has been drilled into our head since the time we were kids. So discipline is not the problem. The emotional code over here is if I don't try, then there is no failure. So I'm fine the way I am.
Really different. So another one over here. Relationships. This is a very problematic domain, I feel like, and
Mm,
the most common one, wherein many people feel confused in relationships. Neither they want to be committed, nor they want to be open about it. So there is a lot chaotic mess that is going on. So why it is that? Let's say someone stay confused in relationships. It
mm,
could any kind of relationships,
mm.
your blood relations or any other relations. Because here the emotional code is, if I don't know what I want, I don't risk choosing wrong. Okay, these small patterns tell a big story behind your conditioning. So that's where you can build your understanding, and you are most welcome to join the Clarity Code, which is a live exploration in your self awareness upcoming. Now, Priya, are we going to conduct in January, I guess?
Yeah, in
Next
Jan, in Jan. Yeah.
2026, 18th of January, right?
Not sure about the
Not
date, but
sure.
I'll put it in the description. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so I want to bring this to an end with something that I want you guys to take away with, okay? Please know that resistance is not the enemy.
Mm.
Please know that fear is not a stop sign. Please know that you being disciplined has got nothing to do with you not doing what you're supposed to do. Okay. All these are maps. All these are maps that shows you which emotion code is ready to be rewritten.
So, in the next episode, we take this one step deeper into these emotional codes, wherein we will show you how it will show up in your relationships, your choices, your communication, and your self talk. So,
Absolutely.
goodbye.
So, with that, we come to the end of this episode, and we will see you in the next episode, which is episode 5. And two things for you all to do. One is look up for the clarity code, go through the details. If you need clarity on why do I have these emotions, how can I work through these emotions, what is the root cause of these emotions, who am I being when these emotions take me over, okay? Two, how to get into that space where I am not controlled by emotions, I'm understanding it and I'm working through it. So this is a 3-hour immersion. Make sure you register, be there. Also, in the comments, add the questions that you have, because that helps us include them in our conversation or probably create a whole new conversation. The reason why I say this is because I get so many DMs on Instagram after people have watched this, wherein they are appreciating the work that we do. Thank you so much for that. But I think the more, what is going to be more rewarding is to be able to address the challenges that you have. So our aim is to pick up problems which we ourselves have gone through and worked through and embodied, or that we get questions from. So make sure you engage with the content, like, subscribe, share. And with that, I will let you guys go. Thank you so much, everybody. I will see you in the next episode.
Bye bye.